So first of all, thank you. This is my privilege. I know that there's a lot to do every single day, and for you to take time and carve off time, I know you're making an investment in time, and I promise I will deliver. And so let's go to the next slide, Stephanie. So wait, stop, Stephanie. First of all, this call is about the 7 characteristics and systems of the perfect real estate assistant. So as I was thinking about how do I connect the dots here, let's go back, Stephanie, one more slide. So I want to connect the dots on there are 7 characteristics of an assistant. And then how do we put those systems together with those characteristics? So never done this before. So I thought this is how we have to make sure that we have the right team members and the right systems going forward. So with that said, I heard a phrase today, drive hands-free. So now there's a new Cadillac, the big Escalade, that they're promoting that you drive hands-free. Well, somebody who's old school, I kind of like the control of me having my hand on the wheel, but I've done the hands-free thing every now and then. I have a navigator that kind of does that. And I'm thinking to myself, don't we all want to drive our real estate business hands-free? And so this is for you to start thinking about, how do you have a hands-free real estate business where the only thing you do is you go out on listing appointments, you might work with a buyer here and there, and then obviously you have systems that back end all of that. You negotiate, you write contracts, you role play, you lead generate. That's your job. And all of this is hands-free. So let's go to the next slide. So real quick, some of you not sure who I am, what I've done. I dug the well on assistance and team building. I wrote these books that are still on Amazon. Don't buy them. My systems are much better now and perfected, but people still buy them and love the books. And I want to make this really clear. I love this. This is my passion, is team building. I started doing this. I started in real estate late 70s when dinosaurs were walking around. And so I know after 44 years in business, what needs to be done. I've been a coach for over 30 years. I've coached some of the very, very best agents in the country. So I understand this. I ran a 7th level team and I took 175 listings a year. And Stephanie on this call, who's assisting me, was right there by my side. And I ran this 7th level team, and the Rainmaker never stepped into the business, not even once in 7 years. And every year he netted $1 million. True story, true story, true story. And yet it's about the systems and it's about the right team. We only had 3 buyers agents plus myself and another listing agent. So there's about 5 agents, and we had 3-4 assistants at all times. And we were able to do that kind of business. Now, I work for Dave Ramsey. I developed his ELP program. I developed Arch Telecom for the real estate industry, if you're familiar with that, 800 info hotline for Mike Ferry. And then, of course, I was VP of Maps for 3 years, and I promised Gary 3 years, and I worked 7 days a week. And I said, after that, I want to step back. I'll do my best to turn the ship around and make things right, which I did. So with that said, go to the next slide, Stephanie. So one of my favorite sayings, and I want you to hear this loud and clear, it doesn't make sense to hire smart people and tell them what to do. We hire smart people so they can tell us what to do. Hands-free real estate business, right? You just go do your job. It's hands-free and it's driving down the road. I love that analogy today. All right. And on the next slide, going to the next slide, Stephanie, you will see that there's going to be 7 characteristics. And the first characteristic is aptitude. The second characteristic is attitude. The third characteristic is consistency. The fourth is communicator. The fifth is culture. The sixth is profit-oriented, and 7 is respect. And I'm going to tie the systems in that go with each one of those. So on aptitude, I say this kindly, you can't fix someone who doesn't understand real estate or doesn't understand processes. So I kindly say you can't fix someone who doesn't have the mindset for that. You can't fix it. And so you have to hire correctly. So aptitude is a unique combination of abilities and personality characteristics, which predisposes a person to do one kind of work better than another. There is the KPA and there is the DISC. Let's go to the next slide, Stephanie. So in the KPA, which all of you as KW have access to, you should have your assistant take it. If they haven't taken it, your buyer agents, if they haven't, and anyone you think about hiring should take those 2 tests. The KPA has 37 different job matches. If you're looking at any team member, make sure that they're matched in those appropriate areas and believe what it says. Believe what it says. As far as the DISC goes, of course, we all understand the DISC. So this is my favorite as a triple D. I need a C to dot the T's and cross the I's. Now, I know I said that backwards, but that's who I am. I need someone to clean my messes up behind because I roll so fast as a high D. So it's a diagnostic tool. And it really can tell you how they process information, asking the right questions. How do they take action? How do they solve problems? What's the right environment? Okay, the next slide is more on aptitude. Can you verify quick problem solving? Can you verify emotional intelligence? Can you verify communication style, learning aptitude, environment requirements? These tests will tell you those things. And then the client benefits. They can communicate at a high level with the clients. They have empathy. They know how to solve a problem, so it's a win-win. They're not constantly saying, well, you need to take care of this. I call it the baby with the dirty diaper. The baby, here, you take care of this. This one's for you. No, they learn how to take that. They learn how to support the goals and support you. Now, I talk fast, but the good news is you get these slides and you get the recording again because I've got 30 minutes to roll this out. Okay, let's go to characteristic number 2, which is attitude. They got to be willing to learn and a can-do attitude. They got to have a can-do attitude. And so on the next slide is attitude. And now the systems there are scripts and controlled conversations. Let's go to, there you go, Stephanie. So I've had assistants say to me that not on my team, but people that I've coached over the past who say, if I'm going to be micromanaged and have to fill out a report what I do every day or on Friday, I'm not going to do this job. And I go, wow, okay, so there's no accountability. So the attitude there is don't question me what I'm doing. Now that's not the right attitude. So on Friday, I've convinced everyone on my team in the past that this is really going to make them feel good on Friday. What are 5 things that I did to move the business forward? Week of, obviously the date, week high, week low, and what did you do to wow a customer? And I had an assistant named Charlie, who Stephanie on this call knows very well. And he goes, I don't have time to do that. And I go, please make time. And you make time so that I know what happened this week and you feel good about it. He finally did it after 2 weeks. And he says, you know what? I love doing it. It only took me 5 minutes or less. And it made me feel good at the end of the week instead of going, what did we accomplish? What happened this week? And he goes, this is really cool. So 5 things you did to move the business forward, week high, week low. What did you do to wow a customer? Imagine giving that to every single person on your team. Attitude's everything. Attitude's everything. So the next slide is about listings and pending updates. Now, an assistant should have the attitude that they are processing what's happening in the business and that they are on top of it. And they're giving you a listing and pending report. Days on market is back and appropriate. Wasn't a few years ago, a year and a half ago. The list date, the expiration date, really critical to have that report. And every single Friday at 10 o'clock in my chair, not on my desk, because I'm going to die of the disease of paper. Still got that problem now. And so when you look at this and you say Friday, I have a listing report, I have a pending report, my pipeline, how much money I got rolling in and pay bills. And then the third one is my Friday report from the team, each team member. Now, these are systems that will make yourself and your team have a thriving year if you start to put some of these things into place. All right, on the next slide going forward is about reviews and referrals. So they have to have an attitude that they help bring in the business. By the way, thanks for working with our team. We would love another great client like you. Who do you know right now who could use our help buying or selling real estate? This is the conversations that your assistant has, your buyer agent has every single time. Hey, it's great working with you. During our time together, could you help me find one more great buyer or seller that would need help with the American dream? I have a goal to help 50 families with the American dream. Can I count on you for one? These are conversations and role plays. These are systems and characteristics of the right people on your team. Remember, drive hands-free, right? Okay. Moving on. All right, so let's go to consistency, which is characteristic number 3. And in characteristic number 3 in consistency, what I find really interesting, and Stephanie will move that slide, it's a little slow, but we'll get there. Okay, behaves in the same way, has the same attitudes towards people or things or achieves the same level of success in something. Well, wouldn't that be checklist and database? Database is your only asset. Database is your only asset. Doesn't it make sense to have the consistency of checklists that perform at a high level, emails that go out at a high level? How we treat people is the same. Having those conversations and checking off things in the checklist so that it's done absolutely correctly. And so if you go to the next slide, I want to share with you what CANI is. CANI stands for constant and never-ending improvement. So consistency is one thing, but always looking, how do we make it better? What do we need to shift in a shift market? What are we not doing that we should now bring back what we're doing? So one of the forms that I always have is a form, it's called it's a price war in a beauty contest. So I go through the home and the listing and I say, here are the things after they've signed the listing. Here's what we need to note that need to be done if you have the money, type of thing. But you have to set these expectations now. It wasn't a price war before. It's basically a price war between the buyers, not the sellers, right? Follows the checklist to a T and makes recommendations for improvements. I like things done perfectly, hands-free. And I know you do too. I can't do them, but I want the people who can. Focus on customer experience, not just customer service. What's customer experience anyway? Customer experience is when you say, customer services, are there any pets on the premise? Your assistant says, or customer experiences, wow, I just heard from Monica, you have an amazing team member named Tank. Tank is a 250-pound Rottweiler. He's got his own bed. He watches dog TV. I mean, that's customer experience when the two work together like that. Ask for reviews and referrals on a consistent basis. Creates a positive office environment and is dependable. Shows up for work on time. Doesn't have a million excuses. Next slide, Stephanie. The 80-20 of an executive assistant. 80% of the time, this is what an executive assistant's doing. 20% of the time is transaction management, listing management, client care, client events, database management, marketing campaigns, lead source tracking. Now, in my personal opinion, I like that to be 80% of the day and that to be 20% of the day. But again, that's reverse. But again, when I say to an agent, 20% of your day is lead generation, lead follow-up, going on appointments, writing contracts. What if that was 80% of your day? So see, I like to switch it around. So you make sure every day is powerful. All right. Next characteristic is a communicator. So on the next slide, the systems there are setting expectations with clients and exceeding the relationship in a phone voice, not an email. The phone voice or the Zoom call is the connection. It is the connection. It's nothing more than that. And a lot of us have assistants who are younger that think texting is communicating. It's not when somebody's paying 6% of the value of their home. It's not when a buyer is buying something that they've never bought that much, spent that much money in their whole life. And so we have to have that connection with the phone voice or the Zoom call. All right, so if you go to the next one, I know I'm talking fast because I know where we're going here. Communication. It is important for me that you have a huddle every single day with your assistant at 11 o'clock. You've done your lead generation. They've done their top priorities, the processing listings, handling any challenges with a client or questions that came in, phone calls, voicemails, etc. At 11 o'clock, 4 o'clock, it'd be great if you touch base to see what's going on, handle any questions for the beginning of the next day. And on the next slide is characteristic number 5. So characteristic number 5 is culture. Culture is everything. Oh, sorry, we got one more. Oh, you're right. Is that part of, where did you have that slide, Stephanie? Go back to that slide. That was when we added. Okay, sorry, I have an old one in front of me. All right, pass the baton, assistant's first call. Now in communication, the assistant sets the call up. You know, Monica asked that I call you as part of our customer service to introduce myself. Is this a good time to speak to you? This call will only it'll take more than 5 minutes. So that's probably a typo there. It should take 25 to 30 minutes. I'm the listing coordinator. I'll be handling all the documents. Did you receive my business card? They must have their business card. Validate your listing manager, validate your listing, your pending TC, call them executive assistant. That's the title there. Now, pass the baton means they don't make a call without understanding their motivation. Why are they moving to Chicago? They got a job change. Not good enough. What's important about the job? Well, I'll be closer to my mother, and it's really not a great job, but I need to be closer to more mother. What's important about that, may I ask? Well, my mother's has Alzheimer's. So all of a sudden, moving to Chicago became, I'm taking a lesser job to help my mom transition through Alzheimer's. So you've got to learn how to ask those 3 levels deep, but you have to tell the motivation instead of saying, oh, congratulations, we're so excited to help you move. They're not happy about moving, okay? This is a job downgrade. They're not happy, so they can't go in there Mr. Happy, Miss Happy. Do they have kids, pets, personality styles? That sort of things is critical to the success. Okay, the next one, moving on, should be the culture. Culture is everything. Culture connects all of the different plays, whether it's listings and talking to clients, pendings, goals, hiring, everything connects to culture. Culture is that middle circle right there. Is learned, shared based on symbols, integrated and dynamic. All cultures share the same basic features. So numbers is about culture. Lead generation is about culture. Goal monitoring, events, it's all about culture. It's all about the culture. Team events is about the culture. And so if you go to the next one, you will see that culture is about everyone on the team treating everyone the same and treating the client at the highest level. They treat the agent's problems as their own. We can help you. We apologize that happened. We will work on this immediately and say, well, we didn't do that. The title company did that. The lender did that. No, we can help. I'm sorry this has happened. Take the blame, and move on and get things handled. Here's what will happen next. We appreciate you calling us and letting us know. Thank you so much. Thank you is a lubricator that we don't say enough. Like I said, thank you to you in the very beginning. I know you have choices today, and I thank you for being on this call. Characteristic number 6. Let's go there, shall we? Here's the big one. Now, this is profit-oriented, okay? When individuals have a process-oriented mind, they are able to work smarter, not harder. Implementing processes in various areas of the business can prevent waste, allowing the business to scale and grow. Now, isn't that being a profit center? So on the next slide, I have spent the time to think about this and how many hundreds of thousands of dollars each employee that you have can be worth. So for example, I had a person tell me that was a buyer agent. How many people in your cell phone? Now, if you pull up your iPhone and you scroll down to the bottom, I don't know about the other phones, but I know the iPhone, on contacts, you'll see how many contacts. This buyer agent had 842 contacts. This buyer agent, how many in your Facebook? 2,400. I went, really? Wow. Oh, he goes, what about Instagram? And I go, what about it? He goes, 3,600. And my wife has more. And I said to him, how many referrals did you bring to the team? And he goes, 1. And I go, 1, wow, who was that person? Why did they give you a referral? It was my sister. She needed to buy a house. And I thought, look at the missed opportunities. And I'm shameful to say that over the years, I didn't look at this correctly. Every single person on your team knows people you don't know, friends, family, past coworkers. They go to church, they work out, the kids go to soccer, kids go to daycare. Who do they know? And you empower your assistants and your team members. This is not a cul-de-sac business. There's just not this amount of money you can make. There's wide open growth, wide open growth. So if they gave you the average commission, not to read through all of these, was $10,000 and they gave you 4, the assistant would get 10,000, you'd get 30,000. Does that help pay for part of that salary? You bet. And does that change the life of a lot of assistants? You bet. 10 referrals from the current clients asking, by the way, we love working with you. Can you help us with the American Dream to help? Can you help 100? We have a goal to help 100 families with the American Dream. Can you help think of one person while we work together that we could help buy or sell real estate? 20 reviews. What could that be worth with? Growing the database by putting in at least 3 completes every single day, 60 per month, whatever. And it could be amazing what can happen to your business. Putting in systems that are duplicatable and scalable, building an office policy and procedures manual, doing the client appreciation parties, getting client appreciation referrals, Facebook, recruit one buyer agent that does a minimum of 12 contracts, listing systems, closing systems, where every single client goes forth into the world and spews how wonderful you are instead of venom. Don't ever use them. They don't communicate. You never know what's going on. There's so many screw ups, and maybe it was never your fault. But when you don't over communicate with a client and you don't appreciate and you say, thank you, is there anything else we can do to help your day? Here's what's going to happen next. Those are all controlled communications, right? So Ritz-Carlton customer service, ask your team, what does that mean? Authorship is ownership. Have them tell you how that can happen. What are some of the things? First impression, how's your phone answered? Does it answer like you're at a morgue and there's a dead person? Thanks for calling Monica's office. No, good morning. Thanks for calling Monica Reynolds' office at KW. How may we help you? Or I can help you. You know, whatever that is. It's great to have some energy come across that phone and then tone it down once you start in the conversation. Phone screener, vacation backup, especially if their license is huge, and obviously building a policy and procedures manual. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So on the next slide is customer for life client event parties. I am a huge proponent of this, and there are so many things that work so well: pie giveaways, shredding day, movie nights, 4th of July, photo shoot ideas, pet portraits. The funniest one that I heard most recently that I thought was terrific was, you absolutely have to look at this, and that is, they have on Halloween, kids love to dress up ahead of time, right? So don't give out a prize for the best dressed kid in a Halloween, but have like a food truck come with maybe cookies or something, and in a neighborhood, and bring your pet in its pet contest, and have your kids dress up too. This one gal had it where she did the kids, and they all started crying because they didn't win the prize. So now they come dressed up because kids love to wear their costumes more than once. She does it the weekend before, and bring your pet because we're going to have a pet contest. So I thought that was really clever. Imagine having your assistant handle all this for you, and your budget is zero for all of these. You get your affiliates involved. I understand RESPA better than anybody. They can help pay for these events. They can contribute directly to these events. All right, next one. Let's look at next. So on the next slide, you are going to see respect. So on respect, which I think is really one of the most favorite things for me to talk about, is when you change the life of a team member and you help them build generational wealth. You help them build wealth. You help them pay their credit cards off. You give them processes and thoughts to do that, and accountability. You know, respect builds trust, safety, and well-being. People don't leave you when they respect you. Here's something I learned from Gary too. People join your team and they leave for the same reasons they joined your team. And so are you giving those opportunities? Are you helping them grow at the next highest level? And so a 411 weekly with your team, a growth plan, life by design, assistant business plan. Let's take a look at the next slide. Let me share with you what that means. So just imagine that whether your assistant is licensed or not, you pay them if they're not licensed, you pay them a bonus on any referrals that they bring in from their sphere of influence, family, friends, past coworkers, church, etc. What if you also pay them a small bonus on any referrals that they get from a current client? And so when you look at this business plan for an assistant, we bring them into the business. They are not paper pushers only. They are not someone answering the phone only. They are partners into the growth of the business. And you're going to help them with their net worth. You're going to help them with their profit share. They're underneath you in the growth of the company and the growth of profit share. Profit share goes for 2 generations. So that is an incredible opportunity to help them build. So I teach assistants in the training class is that every single person that's not KW, you put on a spreadsheet, and that conversation is had by your assistant. By the way, we loved working with you, or thanks for calling about that listing. May I ask you a question? Would you mind spending 5 minutes with our team leader over the phone to hear about some opportunities Keller Williams has? We're the largest franchise, most transactions, most agents, and most volume. Could you hear our story from our team leader? That's a simple script, and I go through that also. That's powerful. Okay, next one. All right. So with all of that said, I've covered pretty quickly aptitude, attitude, consistency, Communicator, obviously, culture, profit-oriented, and respect. And then I tied in some systems to that. I love what I do. My passion is absolutely the assistants. And I always know that they want the training. They want to grow in the job. And if they don't, and they don't want to come to a class like this, then you don't have the right person, do you? You'll have someone who just is stuck in their world and stagnant. This is the way we do it. I don't want to know any other new ways. I don't want to be challenged. And so please consider, this class is on March 15th. It's 3 calls per month. The first call is for you, for agents, how to keep your team member motivated, how to have the right team member, and how to be a great leader and communicator, because a lot of us don't take the time to do that. Very expensive to hire the wrong person. Each call is live and they're 1 hour long. The second and third call each month is for assistants only. If you've attended my classes, the material changes all the time for the market. Now, over 450 pages with a policy and procedures manual that you will get at the end of the course, and every single week, 30 and 50 pages. Again, it's live calls and there's 15 minutes of Q&A at the end. And I call on your assistants to participate. Imagine that. And there is homework. Now, there is another class, the 2-day Millionaire Real Estate Operations, which is a boot camp. And that's May 18th and 19th. The link will be available at the family reunion. Okay, next one, Stephanie. So in closing, I just want to share with you this next slide, and then I'm going to tie it all up with a bow. Okay, so the next launch is Wednesday, March 15th. There is a QR code there. You can take your phone right there and go right to the link. You can enter in the discount of $100 off. Web 100 receive $100. You can go to mapscoaching.com/group and you'll find it there. Now, here's what I want to share with you. I promise you, if you come to the calls and your assistant comes to the calls, you are now communicating at a high level. That assistant will have a new attitude and aptitude for what they need to do. And also what's critical for me is that there will be a mutual respect. You will hear what they're going to be having in front of them. You can help them be accountable. You can help them grow at the next highest level. My whole goal, and I don't know why I got chosen, but I wrote books in the 90s on assistance and team building, 1990, some of you weren't born. And in the MREA book, there's a few things that was written in the 2000s that are from my book. So I know I dug the well, I got this. And I am passionate because I know when I hired my first assistant and started to build a team, my life changed. And the client's life changed because someone was there that was an extension of me, a clone of me, who had the same values, the same culture, and it created this incredible lifestyle for myself and for my assistants, my buyer agents, but most importantly, we did a great, phenomenal job of client service for our clients. So with that said, I want you to hear this loud and clear. This class price has never changed. I did this price in 1989 when I launched my first assistant training, and it's the same price as it is today. Maybe I'm stupid about that, but I come from a heart of giving. I know what I share is extremely valuable if you want the systems in place. If you want to drive hands-free, this is the course you come to. All right, it is 18 sessions. It's 6 months, as Graham is putting in the chat box. They're 1 hour calls each. The first call every month at the very beginning of the month is for you agents, not assistants, because then we can talk about pay, problems, etc. It's in every single call, there's 30 to 50 pages on every single call. I don't wing it. I have a plan. So are there any other questions, Graham, in the chat box we should answer before we let everybody go?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, everyone. So remember what I said. Those are the characteristics of a great assistant. And within them, there's systems that each one of those characteristics should support. So you got characteristics, you got systems, you got characteristics of that assistant to implement all that. So go out there, drive hands-free, come to my class March 15th. And I thank you so much. I know you had choices today. Thanks for showing up on the call. Thanks, Graham. Thanks, Stephanie. Thank you.
Thanks all.